Imagine a school where play and relaxation is paramount, where babies sleep outdoors even in the depths of winter, where children help with cleaning and catering, where there are a few locks on doors or security-coded gates, where there's little formal learning and most leave at the age of 5 or 6 unable to read or write. This is preschool education Swedish style. Yet, just a few years after starting formal schooling at the age of 7, these children lead the literacy table in Europe. Just how do they do that? Could the relaxed and playful start offered in Swedish preschools be the very secret of their success? Dawn breaks in Motala, a small town set beside Sweden's second biggest lake. And already parents are arriving at this state preschool, which takes 1 to 6-year-olds and is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
I start at 7. That's why I leave my children so early.
Both me and my husband starts at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
It's the difference between having an opportunity to have a job and not having that opportunity. It's very, very important.
It's not free, but heavily subsidised. The most parents pay is just £7.50 per child for a whole day, and that includes all meals, drinks and snacks.
Maten på bordet och händerna i knä. Maten på bordet och varsågod och ät.
The day starts with a song and is followed by breakfast. No marmalade, jam or sugar-coated cereals, just homemade bread, cheese and porridge.
We sit in different rooms to have a smaller group. It's like the family at home.
The same vertically grouped classes will eat, socialise and play in these homely rooms for their entire time at the preschool. So there's no anxiety about going up to a new class each September. Head teacher Evelot Peterson has been in charge of her Motala preschools for the last 6 years. She shares her time between the school's 2 sites and employs 60 teaching and support staff to look after 250 children with an annual budget of around £1.5 million. Sweden spends 3 times more on nursery education than the UK, but doesn't burden professionals like Evelot with testing and excessive paperwork.
We haven't got any government inspections here. The government trusts us to do the job.
And they're given plenty of space to do the job in. There are 12 classes spread across the 2 sites, each with 22 children occupying 4 or more cosy, uncluttered rooms. There's only 1 computer, but plenty of flowers, sideboards and soft lighting.
A lot of Swedish preschools are even more home-like than this school. They have worked a lot with the environment. Like the Reggio Emilia inspired is more like workrooms. It should be a complement to the home. A very big difference between the English and Swedish system is that it is in our curriculum, it says it's not the child we should evaluate. It's processes in the school, how we do things. We should evaluate that, but not the child, which is a very big difference.
This curriculum is a slim document stressing core values summed up here by the school motto: challenge, discovery and adventure. Teachers are expected to deliver it in ways that interest them.
We want the children to participate in what we do. We don't want to say we should do that and that, but we ask the children what they would like to do. And also we have a curriculum that tells us what to do, but not how to do it. We can do that for ourselves. The children learn better if they're having fun, I think. It's the most important to have fun.
And this quest for fun rather than learning is shared by most parents, including Helena and Magnus Christiansen, who feel it's all about their son Adrian making friends and feeling secure.
I don't think it's so necessary to get the book skills here in preschool. It's more important to get the social skills. And then if they play with letters and sing a lot of songs and rhymes to learn the language in a playful way, that's a very, very good base to stand on when you get into our real Swedish school.
Some of the teachers here have heard about the UK's early years curriculum, which prescribes learning goals or outcomes that teachers are expected to work towards, and give it pretty short shrift.
I think it sounds rather boring. Yes. You have to do many things that are decided on forehead. When you work, you don't have much to decide by yourself.
Every day we go out, even if the weather is bad.
The children here spend at least half the day outside, even in the harsh Scandinavian winters. They say it encourages curiosity and cooperation.
We believe that it is good for them. We think they will get healthier.
There's a big emphasis on physical skills to help build confidence and self-esteem.
When they are young, our children sleep outside. They sleep from half an hour to an hour.
We can see the children all the time. We are inside here or outside in the garden, so it's quite safe here. If it's very cold in the winter, -10, something like that, they have to sleep inside, of course. But often we put on very warm clothes and blankets and something like that. So it's healthy and better for the children to sleep outside.
And where will these hardy children grow up? Motala is a quiet semi-industrial town with a population of 30,000. It has a sizable immigrant community, about 25%. It lies midway between Stockholm and Gothenburg, beside Lake Vatten. At the end of another long and busy day, head teacher Evelot Peterson heads home. She lives just outside Motala in a small wooded village beside a lake. Her impressive period home with extensive grounds may look expensive, but this house costs just £160,000. Just as well when you hear that her annual salary is only £30,000.
Must be good, this wine. We'll see.
Husband Phil is from England, a teacher who taught in Birmingham for many years. He's now semi-retired, but still spends 2 days a week in the classroom teaching English to students who once attended Evelot's preschool. And they've clearly impressed him.
I think the literacy skills, as far as I see them, and I see them in relation to their second language learning, of course, English, then their levels are very good. Can you find out how many countries in the world have a national cricket team? Did anybody manage to do that? How many countries?
16.
16? Okay. Can anybody think why these particular countries play cricket? Why is it, do you think?
It's English colonies.
English colonies. That is a perfect answer. Formal schooling officially doesn't start till 7. The normal sort of compulsory school age is 7 to 16. And before 7, reading and literacy aren't really matters of concern. I'm going to ask you how old you were when you first started to read and write, to learn to read and write.
5 or 6.
5 or 6?
5. 6 or 7.
6 or 7?
5 or 6. 6.
When I first came across this, I was quite sort of taken aback by it. Was there anybody who was ever worried about learning to read and write?
No.
Nobody. If this was in England, we'd be thinking, there's something wrong here. You know, why aren't they reading? Why haven't they got further in their development? It's not as if they aren't developing perfectly well. They are. I mean, they're bright, young children.
It's a good time to learn to read and write around 5 or 6 because you think a lot of things are interesting and you want to learn stuff because older kids learn stuff and you want to be like them.
I think 3-year-olds must have the chance to be kids, and then when they grow older they can have the opportunity to learn and read.
It's your time then to be a baby, not to learn.
Allowing time to be a baby. Perhaps that's the key to understanding the success of preschools in Sweden. Their governments say this should be a place of fun for 1 to 6-year-olds to feel safe and secure. A place where they learn almost exclusively through play and where they do things for themselves.
We try to get the children doing as much as they can themselves. If we can give them the trust to be on their own, they will take that responsibility. And it's a lot about social training, and training together with other children is very important. Like they are laying the tables. It's a cooperation with other children.
The type of food the children serve and eat is an integral part of preschool life too. Jamie Oliver would be thrilled. It's all wholesome, natural, and wherever possible, organic.
I always have fruit or vegetables to every meal. It always have to be as fresh as possible. I always make everything myself, bake my own bread, just because it tastes better, much healthier.
When my children were small and went to preschool, every time there was a birthday, the children had ice cream or cake. They don't do that today because they're much more aware of the sugar, the problem with the sugar.
Today I'm making something called kåldolmar. Typical Swedish. It's minced meat with cabbage. You put minced meat into the cabbage and then you prepare it in the oven.
They have difficulties to concentrate during their work at school if they don't eat healthy food. They often have headaches or get sick easier if they don't eat healthy food. So that's important, yes.
What about chips?
No, not chips.
We start to have a problem with fat children, and we think that if the children are happy to move their body, then they will keep on doing that.
Today we are going out to the lake and we take a walk with all our children, and we have fresh air, and we go to a climbing tree and have some fun. It's very important to be outside and to run and jump.
We think that being outside is a good opportunity to learn a lot of things.
However, the learning on these daily excursions is far from structured. No formal questions or worksheets, but plenty of time to play with the children. The class explore the lake and woods using all their senses, but there's no expectation on the practitioners to collect evidence about what the children see, feel and understand.
I do know something about the kind of evidential gathering systems that are in place in preschool in the UK now, and there isn't that here. There's much more attunement to individual needs. You're not working towards testing, for example. There's almost a logic that demands that you work to the tests and everybody's treated the same, because that's the only way you can do that. If there aren't any tests, you work to the individuals. That seems to me to be a difference in the way the whole system's structured.
It follows that in preschool there are no formal lessons as such, not even in literacy.
Då klappar vi händerna samtidigt. Maximilian! Oj, vad många!
We don't teach reading and writing in that systematical way. We are trying to build a base for reading and writing.
These rising sixes play games with language 3 times a week. It's called Literacy Hour, but you won't find phonics, big books or plenaries.
Här står det elefant.
They meet in small groups perched on adult-sized chairs to match the dimensions of the grown-up world outside.
Här står det krokodil. Krokodilen.
If the child is very interested in letters, of course they will write letters and we show them how to do it. But they don't need to.
Krokodil.
It's their choice. If they are interested, they will do it.
Krokodil. When the time that the children live here, they have a good start to begin reading in the school.
If the children here look happy and content, it may have a lot to do with the fact that the same class have been together since starting preschool. The Swedes feel this continuity of care is vitally important. They're big on continuity. Until recently, the Motala City Council was run by the same party for 58 years, which certainly helps create a consistent education policy.
We work a lot with language development through play and don't believe it's necessary to have so much formal learning. You can't force a child to learn to read. I think parents are good at spending time reading with their children, and we encourage this.
Airport worker Pele Eric works shifts, which means he often gets the chance to collect his daughter Stella from the preschool. It's just a short drive from their home. Parents here send their children to the nearest community school. There's no competition for places and no scrabble to get into a school with the best results, because they don't have league tables. Stella is 2 years old and has just started her 2nd year, and like all the other children, joined a vertically grouped class.
No. Huh? I think it's a good thing to have different ages. She will learn from the older kids. Maybe it's not all good, but maybe she can teach something to the younger kids when they arrive at the nursery school. They will learn as soon as they want to, not earlier. It's she will develop in small steps. When they're interested, then they can start to read. Now it's pictures and the words come out from there, and it has to take time. They can't be grown too fast. I think the most important thing is for her to be happy.
All parents can track their children's progress at the preschool by reading the pupil portfolios that are kept in each classroom.
For me, it's not important that they know how to read and write when they finish preschool. It's important that maybe if they're having fun by learning the alphabet, then they will learn it, and they will learn how to count to 10 or 20, the numbers, and maybe they can say 1 + 1 is 2, because they think it's fun. And I think that's a good start when they enter the normal school.
My feelings are that if you are a secure kind of person, you are a better learner. If you're allowed to play and you have grown-ups that help you communicate with your friends, and then you will be a secure human being, and you will learn faster, and you will think that it's fun.
Here you won't find parents boasting about academic attainment.
I think parents still compare their children with each other, but maybe in other skills. My child can know how to swim and is only 4 years old, or he knows how to play football or go by a bicycle and is only 5 years old. I think they compare in other things than learning how to read and write.
I know it's there in the UK culture, and it's very deeply embedded. I mean, I remember it from when I was a child. You know, it was a big thing that I could read at an early age, and it was kind of good that I could do that, and it showed my intelligence that I could do that, as my parents thought. There clearly isn't that problem here.
And this relaxed, non-prescriptive attitude to reading and writing doesn't appear to hinder the Swedish pupils. In fact, it's the opposite.
Sabotage är ett gammalt ord. Kommer från ett språk som talas i stora delar av...
By the age of 10, they excel in literacy, topping the European League table.
It's not only that in Sweden it seems as if they finish up with higher levels, ultimately. They also finish up with lower levels of illiteracy. That might actually be more significant. And I begin to wonder if, in fact, by focusing so much on literacy in the early years in the UK, by the time they get to the age of 7 or 8, there's a significant portion of children who are already deemed failures and to have failed. And of course we know once that's set in, it's very difficult to turn round.
Loppans gymnastikskor var nästan för små och väldigt utslitna.
When they start school when I was 7 years old, most children are very excited. Now I'm going to start school and I'm going to learn how to read and write and count and all this. So I think they're more excited of school. I think it's more interesting because they have been children up to 6 and played around and have fooled around and having fun.
I just wonder whether that's part of the difference, the lack of that testing regime, the lack of that urgency to have them reading by 5 or 6. It may be that more naturally the children, certainly within Sweden it seems to be the case, progress onto that kind of activity in terms of their, if you like, I don't know, neurological development or their understanding of the world at a slightly older age. And through doing it at a slightly older age, they're more likely to pick up on it across the board, if you like.
The secret is that we work with every child's needs. That is why we have been so successful in Sweden.
Perhaps this gym session says a lot about the Swedish way. There's plenty of risk-taking, allowing children to have belief in themselves while feeling secure and safe with the same teachers they've known since starting preschool. There's bonding and trust, a key feature of the Swedish education system.
It is the case in Sweden that the teachers are trusted, and I mean, I'm saying that with a little hesitation because teachers in the UK have long complained about the fact that they aren't trusted. They haven't been seen as professional. I think that's changing a bit now, but it's very clearly the case in Sweden that the teachers are seen as professionals and they're left to get on with their job. They know what needs doing and they get on and do it.
Some of the staff here have had the chance to see how things work in the UK and are in no doubt about where they'd rather be.
We play more to educate. They have more like school.
And what do you think of that?
I think that what we do are better.
We communicate more with our children.
So, let's imagine Everlot Peterson was given the chance to transplant her preschool into the UK. A school free of targets and testing, where children are not overstimulated but given the space to play and develop. Where there's time for children to learn and teachers to teach. Would it work?
Yes, why not? But I think that maybe it will take a couple of years because the tradition in England are so old and you have had this system for so long. So maybe it will take some time, but for the children I think it will work perfectly.
I think the children will get used to it quite quick, but maybe the teachers and parents and all the adults, it takes longer time for them to get used to something new.
The Swedish model is the Swedish model, and the notion that you could kind of export one model of how to do education and just transplant it into another country, it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, there are so many factors, cultural factors, sort of operating in the country that are so different from the UK that would make it not sensible to try and do that.
And of course, there's the small question of money. Does the Swedish model only work so well because it's been so well funded over so many years? Or perhaps it works because they have faith. Faith in the children, faith in the teachers, and overall, faith in the system.